G'day YouTubers, Robert 28, 1979. Well, that right there should be placed on the Ford. It was condemned. I didn't get much video this weekend because once again I left my damn camera in my jacket and couldn't find it. So I didn't get much video of what the process is. I'll do show this here. Here's the Ford. I pulled the motor out, as y'all seen in the previous video of me pulling it and everything. I actually ended up having to pull the fuel tank out of this to get to some of the wiring to see the differences between the wiring on this one and the case, so I can get it all set up. This also gave me a better view here of the lift cylinder. As you can see, that's got a lot longer stroke. I'm going to say it's probably got a 6-inch stroke versus the one that's on that case has only got a 4-inch stroke. So this lift cylinder is going to be the one I'm going to mount on the 3-point. So I've already got right there, still that's the base plate. I got to punch all the holes and everything. I didn't bend the bottom lip yet because I'm not sure if I'm going to go with 1/4-inch plate like the blueprints call for. I think I'm probably go with 3/8 because with the setup it's going to be able to have down pressure. So I might want to go with something heavier dutier than 1/4, but I'll get more on that later. So like I said, as you see, there's the 12-horse switch. I may end up rebuilding this motor just for the heck of it, just to have a spare motor around. And these things, where I'm at here, you don't see very many of these Kohler K301 12 horses or the 341 16 horses. So I've got the 12 horse, buddy of mine's got the 16 horse, but they both need the same thing. They both gonna need a crank, piston rod, and so I'm not sure about, I'm debating on rebuilding it or not, just having it as a spare, because I know somebody else who has a Cushman truckster, got the same motor in it. And their smokes like a banshee, so who knows, I might rebuild that and hold on to it, and if they need one, well, I'll have it. But what the bad part is, I didn't get very much video, I didn't get the video of me putting motor in the case. There's a video I'm going to upload that actually shows me setting the motor on here but not hooking it up or anything. And I know it looks kind of weird. You see a little stub pipe here, you see one angle down. Well, I just haven't cut it off yet. I'm going to cut it off even with the other one, because like I said, this is going to get stacks. I tried running all this cobbled mesh you see here, because I cut the exhaust and tried to move it in closer to the back of the motor, and it was still hitting on the sides here. So I'll get the side view here. It's hitting right down here and not allowing the motor to slide back in to mount it on the mounting brackets. And I did put the clutch pulleys and all that stuff back on here because I didn't want to cut anything down or anything just yet, which I'm probably going to end up having to do it, because as you can see right here, I had to put a board between my oil cooler and my mount so the fan would clear, because it's at an angle, and this motor actually sits forward just enough that with it mounted like it's supposed to, it does hit this fan. Even right here with the way it's mounted, it's actually still, as you can, let me get a view there, it's still hitting on the cooler here just very so slightly. So, and another reason I didn't eliminate that yet is there's a micro switch on the lever for a kill switch. So, and with all this loose, it just flopped wherever the heck it wanted to go. So that's still coming up. And this exhaust is not true yet. This one's loose here, so I got to come in here and actually cut the pipe off the flange, turn that flange around, and then re-weld the pipe back to it. Simply because this is a one-way flange on here. It's not true. So with like this, it has a gap back here which will allow exhaust to come out. So I'll be getting to that here pretty quick. And I'm gonna go ahead and eliminate that rod altogether. Just cut it up, cut it out of there. I ain't gonna hold it. Ain't nobody gonna need it that I know of. So, and then I will go in here and take all the clutch off and everything, because I'm not gonna run a mower deck on here. I'm not gonna run anything, and because if I do, I'll have the control valve off this Ford over here, and I can rig up a hydraulic motor setup. I've got a hydraulic motor somewhere. I just gotta find it to where I can mount it on the side over here on the back, hook in some quick connect ports, and hook up like a tiller or something if I want, and just have a control valve. They got those for the bigger cases already, so that may be how I go that route, because I really don't need that pulley, the clutch system, any of that linkage. And if I do that, it'll allow me to slide that fan back a little further and tighten, rephrase that, it'll allow me to slide the fan back on this threaded shaft enough to where I can cut some of that shaft off and actually mount this cooler back straight. Oh, I had to replace both of the cables for the throttle and the choke. They weren't long enough. So got those done. Everything bolted in. I did end up having to replace that half of that Lovejoy connection, because in the process of getting that set screw out, I ended up just getting my jaw pullers, which I'll show you. I had a blonde moment when I was doing my video, and what I did is I just actually took the bolt loose and extended it, made it longer to where it fit back behind it, not being a bind and pop off. Got it off and was trying to mess with that old Lovejoy, and as you see, I got it right here, but that's what happened. It broke in 2 pieces. So I ended up having to buy one, 20 bucks. Oh well. So I got that fixed, got it all put together. Did not replace that rubber piece in there. The actual coupler is what they call it. I did not replace that. I just left that cracked one in there for now. If it comes apart, if I have any issues, I'll replace it later. The other thing I did is with the actual mounting housing for that pump where the Lovejoy connection goes in. Is, you see here, I showed in that video, what I did was I actually took the other Lovejoy half off the pump, took that housing off, stuck it to the back of the motor, got it centered where it's supposed to go, and marked it where the holes are at, and that's drilled new holes in it, bolted right up. I encountered another problem then, was that it had that lip on it where it went over the backside of that 12 horse. So I had to cut notches out where this one actually had raised pieces where the holes are at. The actual cast was different. So trimmed those off, ground them all down, got them all basically within tolerance and clearance basically, and bolted it right up. Had no problem. The only problem that I did have was actually getting that dang Lovejoy connection lined up. I thought it was a pain in the butt taking it apart. That is a true pain in the ass putting it back together. I mean, it was just a pain in the rear. Only other issues I'm kind of facing right now is, you know, these hydraulic cooler lines hit right on that starter, which I'm worried about is it rubbing right here in the frame. So I'm gonna try to put some rubber strip there. I got some rubber hose I may cut in half and just, you know, piece of this hose, and just slide it over the edge of that to prevent it from cutting this hose. As you can see, I'm getting wool. I've got those the hose clamps on as tight as I can get them, and it still leaks of this. That's a nasty bug flew in my mouth. Sorry. Anyway, it's got these old crappy wire hose clamps. You know, you truly see from all your Chinese vehicles. So somewhere along the line, they use some Chinese stuff. You know, and then they got these other band clamp things that just, these are notorious for snapping and breaking. But this connection down here, it just runs right up to that tank. That's the only one that I got a problem that's leaking now. And the problem is I can't get to it now to tighten it up anymore unless I drill a hole right here in the side, which I may do that, so I get a screwdriver right to it tighten her up. But we'll see where it goes. And the other situation I had is this has actually got the rectifier right here on this cover plate, which goes on the up here on the dash. This 18 horse has got it right here on the motor, so the wiring's got a little different. So I may end up having to change out the ignition switch because it don't have enough prongs on it to put a ground wire like I had on the Ford from the ignition switch to the motor. So when you turned it off, it killed it. So that may be another little small issue. It's no problem. I've got the ignition switch out of that, and I've got one more, which is the same switch setup as this for a newer model mower. I'll show you here what I mean. Is this switch here has got your ignition, your start, and a spot here you turn it to, it stays running, but it turns your lights on. So, and it's only got 4 prongs on the back for wires, which of course shop's still a freaking mess. See if I can remember where I've got all my switches at here. I've got so much stuff stacked so many spots, it's unbelievable. Yeah, here it is. I've got this one, which is the same setup. It's got your turn it once, it goes for the power and lights. Click it one more time, it's ignition. One more time to start it. So, if need be, you see it's got a lot more than just 4 prongs on the back. So I may have had to put this one in, which would be fine by me. No bubbles, no troubles, no worries, no curry, so we'll get her done. But all in all, everything lined up, mounted up good. The only other thing I had to do, as you can see this panel here, you see a bolt missing here, bolt missing on the bottom, is when I put this motor in, it actually sets, the shaft sits a little higher than that 12 horse. So I had to raise my oil reservoir here up. And when you do that, it's the way it's molded, it had to come out just a little bit. So now I got to try to push on it and maybe drill another hole for another bolt there. But other than that, it was pretty much a painless transition, really. I just extended the fuel line, put some new fuel line on it. Trying to rack my brains. There's something else I was going to do other than the hood, which I know in a previous video I said I was not going to chop my hood up. I was not going to do any kind of alterating to it. Unfortunately, I am. It's a shame, but you'll see here, there's a circle drawn right there. I've got to cut that out. So when the hood closes, it'll actually fit over that breather. The breather's actually going to pop through the hood just a little bit, which I've got in my mind the thought to do is on the top, wants to do this, come across the whole front of this thing and build like a little scoop, kind of like on the air induction scoops for the Trans Ams and, you know, shaker hoods. It's kind of do a shaker top kind of thing to it. We'll have to see how that goes. But and the other issue I'm facing with this hood is with the way the fan, I had to space that cooler out, is the cooler hits right here on these fins now. I was going to cut them out, but instead I'm going to go ahead and take it loose. And I'm going to cut off that shaft and just move that fan back as much as I can. There's several different ways I can do it, but I'm going to do it one major. Well, let me get you, you can see what I'm talking about there. I mean, this is not going to be functional. I'm going to go ahead and just eliminate everything I can on that part of it, so I can get this fan pulled back. But you can see it's in pretty rough shape. It's chunks missing here, and the rubbing here was actually hitting on that rod down there when it was on that other color. So, but I am going to have to modify the hood for the breather, because I'm not going to change the breather. I'm not going to try to go get one of those ones that just screw on. They got a tube run over to a counterfeit breather somewhere else. You know, the heck with all that mess. I think it would kind of look a little bit cooler anyway, to have a little scoop on that hood. So that's basically about right where it's at. Right now, I'm actually going to finish the wiring up and everything. I'm going to do this exhaust piece tonight, get it done. Cut that one where I want it. And at Tractor Supply Company here in town, they got some mufflers similar to this. They got the curved pipe and then the straight pipe out, and you can put the little flappers on it. Because I thought, you know, with the way the hood is, I'm going to have to trim out a little spot anyway around the exhaust here on that hood so to clear it. But I don't like the way that sits. It sits out too far. So when I get it all said and done, I'm going to want it to sit as close to that hood as possible, because this is going to get a loader built for the front of it. So it'll have stacked and it won't have no kick out like that. It'll be straight out to the top and probably come up, you know, at least standing on the ground, probably be about 5.5 feet, 6 feet tall, which is quite tall. Just for the fact of the matter, when you're sitting in the seat, you're not being eye level with the damn exhaust coming out and giving you a nauseated headache. But yeah, so far so good. So I'll get more video of it now that I know my camera's up. I'm gonna leave it hanging in my shop so I'll know exactly right where it's at, and quit putting it in my damn jacket pocket. And I've only got 20 different jackets, and I gotta go searching every time I put it in the pocket. So anyways, this is where it's at. Stay tuned for more videos on the finished product, which this next winter is coming. I am going to tear this thing back down, take the motor off, everything, and I'm going to sand it, and it's going to get a full, complete paint job. So, freaking right, so I'm going to try to get her done. And one more thing before I go. This Ford does have the forward and reverse pedal on it. I'm going to see if I can't incorporate this pedal onto that case. Because when I eliminate the lift cylinder from underneath, it will eliminate that lift bracket and rod. And I'm going to use that rod, just weld another bracket to it to run my forward and reverse instead of having it up on the column up here, you know. So that's my thought on that. So I think it might work. So this thing's still got a few parts yet. I'm going to end up robbing off of it, and then I guess what I'm going to do with the rest of it, load it on a trailer, head to the scrap yard. So and you can see the oil down there from the rear end leaking everywhere, just steadily leaking. So I'm going to jack it up actually tonight, put on jack stands and drain all the oil up back out of it, run it through my strainer and reuse that oil. You know, it's 520 motor oil, which same thing that's in this one. So when I build the loader, that's what's going to run that loader is 520 motor oil. And other thing, I'm going to ask y'all for some advice on this one. This is my thoughts on it. Is when I put the loader on it, the upright is going to be the oil reservoir. I was not going to do that. I was going to run it off the one that's on here, but instead I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. Have that as my reservoir, and possibly even the bottom tube. I'm not going to do the other side of the reservoir. I don't want that much oil in the system. That's a lot of money for oil. Because what I need your advice on is this here is return line. You got the metal line on the bottom that comes off your pump and everything, so off, and that kicks back in here, cools it down, and pushes it back up to your reservoir. Well, on the other side of that reservoir, you have another tube that comes off. It runs to your pump, which is your pump feed. So I'm thinking about whenever I build the loader, eliminate the reservoir off of the tractor, build the pan for my battery and everything there. I'll have more room to do other stuff, and use this upright and the cross tube as my reservoir for my whole hydraulic system. So the only thing that I'm concerned about is if I did that, the hard part is running the hose for the feed for the pump. It'd have to be high enough to keep it constant gravity fed, and the rest of the hose I can just come straight from here to the cooler, straight to the cooler to a filter or whatever, back into the tower, because I don't want to run my feed line to my pump. I don't want to have the filter on that line, because you get a filter involved, you start losing volume as far as liquid flow volume. It'll decrease, and I don't want that pump getting air pockets and causing more issues and problems that way. So I'm just going to put the filter on the return side, because it'll have pressure behind it to a certain degree to help push it through that filter. So let me know what y'all guys think on that idea. If y'all think if I should do that, or just leave the reservoir here as it sits and try to run all my hydraulics off that one little, that reservoir, it holds 6 quarts. So, but the cylinders I'm going to use are going to use, you know, they're going to hold probably a quart to 3 quarts per cylinder fully extended. So I don't know. Let me know what y'all guys think. Anyways, if you ain't subscribed, subscribe, rate my videos, comment if you like, and let me know y'all's feedback on that one. So until the next video, keep it real.